Like, the Lord at this time was testing me and I did not study. They kiss. They fucking, and you guys, I lost my ever-loving mind. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. If you are new, girl, what's up? My name is Dakota. I make a ton of content on this channel, included but not limited to story time, true crime content, advice, and lifestyle videos. So if that's something you're interested, go ahead and hit the like button. It really helps out the algorithm, gets my videos pushed out there. While you're doing that, subscribe, join the Dakota crew. It is free. And while you're doing that, hit your post notifications on by clicking the bell icon in the corner. That way you're notified every single time I post a video here on this channel, period. Guys, what's up? I missed you guys so much. I do apologize for not uploading last week. I had a lot of you messaging me being like, girl, are you okay? I'm going through a crazy spiritual awakening right now, and I will definitely talk about it in another video. But for the time being, girl, just pray for me. Like, so, like literally, like, just pray for me. Like, where do you guys buy your clothes from? Can you guys please let me know down below, like, where you get like your cute clothes and stuff from? Because I need a new wardrobe. I'm telling you, like, I'm literally just like, I'm changing and I'm ascending, and it's great. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's also a lot at one time. So, okay, because we're good, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're blessed, God's favorite. And that's all that really matters in the end. So today's video is going to be another high school story, high school horror story video. You guys seem to absolutely be loving this series here on my channel, and I am loving making it for you guys. I'm honestly having so much fun just like reminiscing on stupid old drama, old friends, old people, things like that. How far I've grown and how far I've come. Also, I apologize for the background, but my cat is having a grand old time taking a nap back there, and I have no intentions on messing with him or waking him up. So I know the aesthetic is a little different because normally I'm like very clean cut, precise, but I'm not moving my cat. Sorry, not sorry. This is going to be a continuation on my last story time. I've done a ton of high school horror stories. I'm actually going to make a playlist for you guys. That way, if you're new here, you can kind of follow and tag along from the beginning. That way it makes more sense and you're updated on all the characters, like who Alicia Cassandra is, who like what did I call Matt, like who Matt is, all of that stuff. This video is basically going to be like the downfall of it all, like the dissolving of my friendship with Alicia Cassandra, the dissolving of my situationship with Matt, and actually how I left New Jersey, why I left New Jersey, and why I live in Connecticut now, and things like that. It's a juicy, fun-filled story, and honestly, I just figured I would kind of like not close out this series because I know I'll think of more, but close out like the Matt and Alicia Cassandra chapter and all that good stuff, and basically just tell you guys like why I left New Jersey, the downfall of it all. It's crazy. Grab your wine, grab your snacks, grab your juice, grab your water, because girl, we're staying hydrated, healthy, wealthy, and blessed. Stay right there, sit your fine ass right there, and we're gonna continue with the story time in 4, 3, 2.
Minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky.
We're gonna start kind of where we left off on me and Michaela and Molly not being friends anymore. Now, if you don't know who these characters are, I highly recommend you go watch How I Lost My Best Friend story time. And also, I'm going to be talking about Matt, and I believe the stories I've talked about him in were like I Caught Her Cheating, Love Triangle series, like all of that stuff. I Stole Her, like all that stuff. Like, it's just all those videos have Matt in them, and it basically, if you don't know who Matt is, he was my on again, off again. I'm not even gonna say boyfriend because he never asked me to officially be his girlfriend.
Stupid.
But I would say like on again, off again, like situationship between literally 8th grade to my senior year. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. And you figure that, girl, it's been 4 years. He's never claimed you. He comes around when he wants to.
Be you. It was never gonna be you. So for you to be so delusional and crazy like that, that is ridiculous. It's
like, stop. You thought after I graduated high school that would happen, but it didn't. So basically, after, you know, I graduated high school, everybody basically went off to college, and there was only like a select group of people that were still in Pompton Lakes, and I actually started hanging out a lot more with my guy friends. I did have a group of guy friends. A couple of them were in my graduating class, A couple of them were like juniors. So I had, you know, a select few of guy friends that I started to hang out with. I had just lost my best friend. And me and Alicia Cassandra had actually just stopped like officially talking. When school ended, she ended up staying home too, and we would hang out every once in a while. But then I started hanging out with this other girl who actually lived like down the street from her. I started hanging out with her, and Alicia Cassandra got like jealous. Like she was like, oh, like you took my friend away, and like, oh, you guys think you're so cool and blah blah blah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so she like, Alicia Cassandra was the type to like literally make drama out of nothing. And so she called me one day and she was like, oh, like I heard you're talking crap about me, all this stuff. And I'm like, girl, who are you? Like nobody cares. Like nobody cares enough about you to talk crap about you. And so I started getting ballsy with her, and I'm just like, okay, so what do you want to do about it? Like, so what? So what? And she's like, oh, Dakota, don't even start. Like, I know where you live. I'll come to your house right now. I was like, come. I'll wait. There's nothing but space and opportunity. Come, like, please. You know what? You've been fixing yourself an ass whooping. So I was just like, whatever. Whatever came. She's scary. But anyway, so she basically was just like talking a bunch of crap to me, and she just was like saying all this stuff. And I'm just like, you know what, girl? You're sad. You're mad. You're stressed. You're not well dressed. Like, you need to go somewhere, right? So I was just like, girl, bye. Like, so I basically hung up on her, and that was basically that. And so I didn't really have like a lot of friends at that time. I really only had one of my really like good guy friends, and then a couple of other friends. And so basically we would just hang out. We would like go to football games and stuff like that. We would go driving around. We would go off-roading. Oh my god, the one thing I miss about living in New Jersey is that there was never anything to do, so we always hung out in the woods. And there would be weekends where we would take my friend's truck and we would go off-roading. And if you don't know what that is, you basically take your truck and like go into the woods and drive all over like the hills. You go through mud puddles. It's so much fun. There was one time that my friend's truck literally got stuck in the mud and we were stranded till 3 a.m. That was fun. We did so many things. Like on the way home one time, my friend RJ, which yes, is his real name, literally blew up a mailbox. I actually have a video. I'm gonna put it in here. And it exploded, and they were bad. Like literally, like I remember one night on Mischief Night, which is the night before Halloween. Does anybody even celebrate Mischief Night anymore? These kids could never. These kids will never know. These kids they could never. But he literally would like throw pumpkins at people. Like he would drive around and take pumpkins and throw them at people. Like, so we would just have like so much fun and like drive around and stuff like that. And basically one day we were at a football game, and some of the people from college were home, and we were all talking to them, and this one guy came, and for the sake of the story, we're gonna call him, what's the name I haven't used yet? I'm gonna call him Leo. Leo basically was somebody that I was in my graduating class with, and we at one time had like a thing, but it was like a very short-lived thing, like very, very short-lived. Like there was one time in 8th grade that he like really liked me and was trying to pursue me, but he smoked cigarettes, and I just can't be with somebody who smokes cigarettes. Like it's not happening. And there was another time where going into freshman year, like we like tried to be a thing, but he just was just like kind of like crazy, so that didn't work out. So but basically we kind of like had a thing a couple times, but like it never actually worked. And I remember he was there. So I hadn't seen him in a couple months because we were like in fall now, and I hadn't seen him since we graduated in June. So I was just like, oh hey, like what's up, like what have you been up to, etc., etc. We started talking. I was going to college at that time, and I was actually in school to be a choreographer because I used to dance, if you guys don't know. Like, oh, that's so cool. We were just talking about that, and he's like, well, you know, if you guys like aren't doing anything later, like let me know, maybe we should all hang out. And I was like, yeah, cool. Didn't think anything of it. So I'm at work, and I worked at the time at a daycare. And it was like an after school program type thing, and I was working there and then going to school. So it was a Friday, and I remember on Friday I didn't have classes. So Friday I would always like be like turned up. Like I'd go to work and then I'd be like, okay, like I've been in classes all week, let's do something, right? Because I'd have classes at like 7 in the morning, girl. It was so bad. So I never did anything during the week because I'm like, I'm not going out, getting hungover, getting drunk, and then going to work the next day. It's not the vibe. So I was like, what can we do? So I'm at work and I get a text from Leo, and he was just like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, oh, like I'm not doing anything. Why? And he's like, do you want to go to the movies with me? And I was like, yeah, like sure, like what do you want to go see? And he was like, oh, we're gonna go see this, and my cousin's gonna come, like she's visiting from another state, so it's gonna be like me, you, my cousin, her boyfriend, and like a couple other people. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. And when he was texting me this, you guys, I did not think in any way, shape, or form that it was like flirtatious, because we had all hung out like in a group in the past, and that group kind of like dissolved and fizzled off. But like basically he was just like a friend to me, so I didn't think anything of it. So I meet up with him, we go to the movies, and like on the way up there, like everything's super normal. He's not even being like flirtatious with me or anything like that. But then when we get to the movies, during the movie, he starts like holding my hand and stuff, and I was just like, oh, well, okay then. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of started getting a little bit of butterflies, and I was just like, okay, sure, like, yeah, like, you know what, we had a thing a couple times, it didn't work out, maybe it could work out now. I'm just like, why the fuck not, right? So we end the movie and we ended up going back to his house, which is like in a different town. So I lived in Pompton, and then he lived in Riverdale. So we basically go to his house and we are just hanging out. We're like drinking some beers. I was like a big beer girl back in the day. Now I could never. Patron and lemonade only. We're hanging out with his cousins and we're all talking and laughing and stuff, and he's being like super sweet to me, super flirtatious. He's like rubbing my back, asking me if I want any drinks, like just like being really, really nice. But then he ends up getting really, really drunk, like really, really drunk. And that's one thing about him, and this is why we like never worked in the past, I swear, is when he got drunk, it was like talking to a toddler. Like he would go on these like random rages where he would get, because he had a bad temper, but then he had like a really sweet side to him. So he would go on these like random like rages and stuff, and then he would just like get drunk and just like not make sense and do stupid stuff. So he got drunk and he kind of started like spilling like his feelings out for me, saying that like he's always liked me, but like things just never worked out between us, but you know, like things are different now, we're graduated, like we're staying home, like we should make something work. And so I was just like, you know what, like yeah, we can see where it goes. Now this was Matt's friend, but that means nothing to this story, because we all know that Matt literally hooked up, made out with all of my friends, like literally all of my friends. And me and Matt had been separated for a good time. Like in the beginning of senior year, I think I talked about like how in my last story how like I like started liking him again and we started hanging out again, but he just thought it was like hanging out, like he didn't see it as being serious. And I was just like, if there's nothing left, tell me there's nothing left. And he was like, yeah, like there's nothing left, like I don't like you. Yeah, if you guys don't remember that story, I'm gonna link it down below. But he and I basically had stopped talking in like literally September, and this was October of the next year. So we had been like not having anything going on for a whole entire year, literally. Just keep in mind, this was like one of his friends, and they weren't like best friends by any means, but they were definitely like friends. They were in the same fraternity together. My town had a fraternity, so freaking stupid. So basically we decided that we were gonna like make something work. So over the course of those next couple weeks, me and Leo would hang out a lot. I would go over to his house, and also he was my oh fuck, I can't say it because we were gonna, you know, hang out. Like I'd go over his house, we would like watch movies and things like that, and we took things like very, very slow, which is what I really liked about him. Like he wasn't the type to like push himself on you too fast. Like he was a very nice guy, and I liked him a lot, and I really started to get to know him. We would go out like on dates and stuff, we'd go to the movies, we'd go get food, we'd go driving around, and I don't know, I just really started to like him. So of course nothing can ever go normal for me. Why would it? So this one period of time happened where we literally lost power like everywhere. Like the whole entire town lost power. Like it was really, really bad, and people were like essentially like stuck like in their houses because there was like this really big flood that happened. So I remember my power had gone out, but he had power, so I was going over to his house a lot to kind of just like hang out and just interact and things like that. And there was one night where we had gone to like a mutual friend's house. They were having kind of like a power outage party, right? Like and we got like all these like candles and all of these like flashlights, and we were just like drinking and hanging out, and it was like a really, really good time. And I remember that Leo actually came, but when Leo came, he was acting really weird towards me that night. And let me remind you, we had not established if we're in a relationship or where anything is going. We were just like hanging out basically and getting to know each other, but we definitely both like really liked each other, and people like kind of knew that we were talking, and especially Matt knew that we were talking. So he came over that night, and Matt was actually there too, and we were all like hanging out and stuff. And so Leo would kind of like be near me, but then he kind of wouldn't be, but then he would, and like the whole entire thing was just like really, really weird. So we end up just hanging out there for the night and then going home. And I just was wondering, I was like, I wonder why Leo is acting so weird towards me. Like, this doesn't really make any type of sense, you know? So the next morning I go home and like we're texting like normal, everything's good. And he's like, hey, I'm actually gonna go to Matt's house today. And he told me that he doesn't mind if you come. Like, do you wanna come? And I'm just like, no. Like, why would I wanna hang out with my ex, essentially, right? Weird. That's like, why? And I don't know how he didn't think that was weird, but he was like, no, like, please come, it'll be so much fun, we're just gonna hang out and watch movies. And I was like, you know what, sure, that's fine. So I ended up coming. It's literally like me, Matt, his older brothers, a couple of our other friends, and Leo. We're just like watching movies, laughing, eating, talking, things like that. And it just is weird for me. Like, it actually became like a habitual thing where like every day, like after I left work, me and Leo would go over to Matt's house and all of us would just hang out. Like, I say all of us as if it was so many people. Like, the three of us would just hang out, and it like kind of became like a friendship. Like, the three of us would just hang out all the time. We would do stuff together, and I'm just like, okay, like maybe me and Matt can be friends. Like, you know, maybe I can embark on this new journey with Leo and me and Matt can just be friends, and doesn't really have to be anything. Now, some weeks go by and we get into like the end of November, Thanksgiving passes, and me and Leo still have not really like established anything that's going on between us. You know, everything was still going good. We're still hanging out and having a good time, but nothing was like really established. And after some time, I noticed that he was like pulling away a little bit, and I wasn't really sure why. I mean, I know that he did have this girlfriend that he had broken up with, maybe like, I think they'd broken up like 3 or 4 months before me and him started talking. So they had been broken up for a bit. But I knew she had like a new boyfriend, so I was just like, why? Like, why? Like, I don't understand. Like, why? Like, why would that even be a factor? Like, if she had like a new boyfriend, you know? But that's the only thing I could think of, because he was just, did this cat? Okay, no, he's still here. Because he was just like pulling away from me, and I could not for the life of me figure out why he was pulling away. So as I'm trying to analyze all of that, you know, all three of us are still hanging out, and Matt's texting me a lot more often. I'm talking about more often than when he even texted me when me and him were like a thing, okay? Like, he's texting me all the time, asking what I'm doing, how I am, like, have I ate yet? Like, you know, do I want to hang out later? Like, all this stuff, and I'm kind of just looking at it as like, you know, maybe we are better as friends. Like, maybe... maybe we are better as friends. Like, you see, like, when we're friends and we just don't have to worry about like putting a title on our being together, like, we work so well together. Like, we have such a good connection. Like, I'm so happy we could be like just friends now. Like, so stupid, right? And I don't think anything of it. I don't think anything of like, you know, that he's trying to like talk to me or that he's trying to pursue anything with me, because in my mind, like, that ship has sailed. Like, that ship has absolutely sailed. So he asked me one day if I want to come over, and I was just like, oh yeah, like, let me tell Leo. And he's like, no, like, just you, like, I want to hang out kind of like just us, like, you know. He's like, you know, me and Leo have been hanging out a lot lately, I kind of want to hang out like just me and you. And I was just like, oh, okay. And so I remember, like, I went to the store and I was like, do you want anything? And he was like, oh yeah, can you get me a Red Bull? I got him a Red Bull. I got myself like a Dr. Pepper, because my gross ass used to drink soda back then for whatever reason. I don't know. I think I even stopped and like got us like snacks or something like that. And then I end up going over to his house, and when I go over to his house, like, we're just chilling, we're hanging out, we're talking, we're shooting the shit, whatever, and out of nowhere he starts to get really flirtatious with me. When I say really flirtatious, like, I'm not even over exaggerating, super duper flirtatious, like trying to hold my hand and trying to put his, you know, hand on my leg and trying to like just get closer to me. And I'm like so confused, because I'm like, you definitely know that me and Matt are talking, like, you definitely know. So like, what is this? Like, why are we like, what's the reason? Like, what is the reason? I just don't understand it. And I just felt like so confused in that moment. But like, I would be lying if I said that I was not still like head over heels madly in love with Matt. Like, I definitely still was like in love with this kid. So it was very hard for me to kind of like not want it, but at the same time, like, I was talking to Leo, so I'm just like, girl, we gotta have some morality here. We can't do that. So basically, I just kind of like was like scooting away from him, not really into it, and eventually he stopped. And I think that we just like watched a movie or something like that, and then I left. And I was just like super confused. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And at this time, like Leo was texting me less and less. Like he wasn't really like talking to me that much. And you know, we would still like talk here and there, like hang out here and there, but it wasn't as, you know, much as it used to be. And so I'm like so confused, and I'm like, and back then I was not like a confrontational person. Now I'll be like, yo, why are you not texting me? Why are you acting different? What's going on? Like I don't care, like I really don't. But back in that time, I had not like fully like stepped in my power yet. I always say I didn't fully step into my power until I had my daughter. And after I had my daughter, I was like the most confrontational person ever. And at that time I just wasn't. And so in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, you know what, like if you're not giving me attention, like I'm gonna go get it from somebody else. And so I started hanging out with Matt a lot more. And one day we ended up actually like kissing, and I was just like, oh my god, what is going on right now? Like I did not know like what was happening. Like I had no idea. I did not know what was going on, but I was just going with it. And we started kissing, and like we just like started like holding hands, and like he would put his hand on my leg, and like we would like cuddle and stuff. But at the same time, I never fully officially like stopped talking to Leo. So like, oh my god, girl, it was a hot fucking mess. I didn't know what to do. But I feel like me and Leo weren't even like a thing anymore. We were barely hanging out, barely talking, but like neither one of us said like officially that we like weren't a thing anymore, you know? So girl, I was just all lost in the sauce, all caught up in the mess, all messy, and just was like, I don't know why I thought that this was gonna be like a long-term thing. Like I don't know why I thought that this was gonna be like feasible. Like I don't understand. So it kind of became a routine where like I would go to school, I would go to work, and then afterwards I would hang out with Matt. And then one day randomly Leo calls me, and he's like, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to go get food? And I was like, yeah, sure. And so we went out and we got food, and I kind of felt like weird the whole entire time, because I'm like, do I tell him about me and Matt? Are me and Matt even a thing? Are we even talking? Or is this just one of those things where we're going to talk for a couple weeks and he's going to ghost me again? Like what is going on? But we got food, and Leo was not like bringing up anything. Like he wasn't even being flirtatious with me. He wasn't like holding my hand, wasn't like being like super sweet to me like he used to. Like he was treating me like a homie. So I was like, you know what, maybe me and him are just fizzling out. Maybe he's talking to that girl again, and maybe like, you know, me and Matt can like pursue something, you know? Like I don't know. And I didn't establish the communication. Looking back, I definitely should have. And also looking back, what I realized was that the reason why Leo wasn't talking to me was because he found out that me and Matt hung out by ourselves. And even though we didn't do anything that night and it was strictly just platonic, strictly friendship, he was mad because he was like, that's messed up because you guys used to talk. And I totally understand in his mind where he was upset. But also in my mind, I'm like, dude, you barely talk to me anymore. Like you barely hang out with me anymore. But at the same time, that's not an excuse for me to just completely like dub that connection and then go and talk to like essentially like my ex again, right? So we're getting food and like everything's normal, but he definitely is not acting flirtatious towards me or anything. So in my mind, I'm kind of like, all right, I guess we're transitioning out of the talking phase and we're gonna just go back into friendship. That's fine. I don't care. That's cool. Like if that's what he wants to do, all right, like that is great. So essentially that's what happened, and we would still text here and there, we would still hang out, but it wasn't anything like serious. So me and Matt kind of started to get a little bit more like serious, to the point where like I was going over there a lot, and we were essentially kind of like reestablishing our connection again, which I don't know why I did that, because I done gave this boy so many chances, to the point where it was embarrassing. Like I just looked dumb after a while. So Matt decides one night that he is going to have a party. Like every once in a while, when his parents like wouldn't be there for a weekend, he would end up having a party. And like I said, he used to be in the fraternity that was in our town. So he knew how to throw a party. Like he knew to get kegs, jungle juice, to have a beer pong table going. And it's so crazy because I'm actually going to find a picture of me from that night, because I have just always been extra. Like I was born extra. Like I was going to a house party, and tell me why, I was wearing a bodycon dress, full hair of extensions, curled, teased, full face of makeup, remember those little like bangles we used to wear on our arms back then, knee-high boots. Like girl, I was doing the damn thing. I literally remember I bought this outfit specifically for this party. why? Like, do you know how many girls just went there in like jeans and a t-shirt? Like, why did I come like that? Like, why did I look like that? Like, I don't understand. Like, I even remember that, like, one of my friends had had, like, a Halloween party, and we all went there, we're, like, in, like, our costumes and stuff, and he was just, like, acting so weird towards me. Like, I can't explain it, but, like, he was just being, like, super, like, standoffish towards me, and, like, I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, what's going on? But, like I said, I didn't open my mouth, and that's my own fault. But he was just giving me weird vibes. He was giving me the vibes of, like, okay, I want you, but, like, I don't at the same time, but, like, I do, and, like, it was just confusing. So, anyway, Matt decides he's gonna have this party, and so, like, you know, me and my friends, we get all dressed up, we go, whatever, and oh my god, you guys, tell me why. Paige ends up going to this party. If you don't know who Paige is, you have to watch the video. She cheated and I snitched. It's all about how basically, yo, my life was so chaotic back then. Like, looking, every time I tell these stories, I'm like, girl, how do you still have a full head of hair? Like, I don't know how I have not needed Rogaine by now, because, girl, the stress I used to put myself under for these men is literally mind-blowing. Literally mind-blowing. Okay, so Paige ends up going to this party. Now, at this point, me and Paige were like, okay, I had gotten past the drama of when, you know, she was like, you know, basically like dating Matt, even though me and her were cool. I had gotten past all that, and I really, in my heart of hearts, thought that, like, they were done. I was like, okay, no, like, they're done, you know, like, she was on and off with Peter from, like, that story still, and, like, I just, in my heart, was like, nah, like, there's no way. Like, they would not. Like, they would not. We were literally at a party, I think, like, a month ago at Peter's house before he moved, and him and her were together. So in my heart of hearts, I'm just like, nah, like, they would, like, why? Like, why would they? No. So everybody ends up going there, and it's Paige, and then it's Leo's ex-girlfriends. Remember I told you about the girl that he was with, and then they broken up for like 3 or 4 months, right? This girl was crazy. Let me just start out by saying this girl wasn't, like, there was like something, like, just not, like, the hamster was spinning, the hamster wheel was spinning, but the hamster had fallen off decades ago. Like, there was something not right, okay? So I end up going to this party. I'm having a good time with my friends, and I noticed that the whole entire night that Matt is not paying attention to me. He's not talking to me. It's like the same story. Like, change the fucking tune, girl. Like, sing song. Like, change the fucking tune, change the melody, change something. I feel like every time I talk about this guy, it's the same thing every time. Like, literally, he was the worst. So he's, like, not paying attention to me, not talking to me, not, like, literally anything. And I'm just like, we were just hanging out, like, 2 nights ago. We were just hanging out 2 nights ago. I don't understand, okay? So I'm like, what is going on? But I'm trying too hard. I'm trying hard not to think about it, because I'm thinking in my mind, okay, maybe, like, you know, he's distracted because there's a party, or maybe he's worried that someone's gonna break something, or maybe he just is like, there's too many people here, or maybe he's drunk. Like, I don't know, right? So then I'm like playing beer pong, because back in the day I annihilated. Listen, we can get it on and popping right now. I don't even care if I'm about to be 28 years old. Try me in beer pong. Just try me, because you will not win. Like, I am undefeated. I am so good at beer pong. And that is not something I should be proud of, but I absolutely am. Period. So I'm playing beer pong, and I'm mid-shot, right? And I'm like mid-shot. And tell me how I look over, and I fucking see, with my own 2 eyeballs, okay? Matt and Paige kiss.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
They kiss. They fucking, and you guys, I lost my ever-loving mind. I lost my ever-loving mind. I literally remember I went over, my friend Beth was actually there. Beth, if you're watching, girl, what's up? But I remember I went over to my friend Beth, and I just start crying, and she's like, Dakota, what's wrong? We go up to the bathroom, and I'm just like, girl, like, I'm like, I just can't stand this man. All he does is play me. And like, I'm telling her, like, we basically have been on and off since 8th grade. And she's like, oh my God, girl, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, because she was a lower classman. She was either like 1 or 2 grades below me. So she didn't know about it, obviously. And I'm just like, girl, like, I can't do this anymore. And she's like, you're worth so much more than that. You're too pretty for him. And she just is like giving me this pep talk in the bathroom while I am crying, because at this point, I'm like, dude, what more do I have to do to get you to see that I care about you? Like, why do you not, like, why am I not enough? Like, why is it never enough? And if there's one piece of advice that I can give to you ladies watching this shit, is know your worth. If a man does not want you and he is not actively pursuing you, and he is not at least showing you a little bit that he's interested in you by texting you, by calling you, by hanging out with you, taking you on dates, showing you effort, showing you that you are a priority to him, if he's treating you as an option, if he's treating you as the yellow starburst and not the pink starburst, girl, throw the whole man away. Throw him in the trash and go get a new one. It's a mandemic in these streets, okay? Like, literally, like, there is more fish in the sea. And that's how guys honestly look at us women as, is there's more fish in the sea. So you can do the same exact thing, right, Rocky? Period. Point blank. Like, look back and I'm like, I should not have given this man the time of day after the first time that he did this shit to me. Because you know what? When you start showing a man that he can treat you a certain way, it's like, it's literally like a kid. It's like if they go and they spill something, right? Or like they go and they break something and there's no like repercussions for it. They're not going to understand that they can't do that again, right? They're going to keep thinking, oh, okay, like mommy doesn't care. So I'm going to keep, chucking this vase on the floor. I'm going to keep pouring this water all over the floor and this milk and ruining her floors because she's not saying shit. It's the same thing with guys. Like, when you enable their behavior, you're just as bad and just as much to blame as they are. Like, you can only blame a guy so much for what he does to you, but you have to blame yourself more for staying and putting up with it, right? Like, after the first time, okay, that's a mistake. I understand, give people second chances, but after the second time, if you decide to stay after they cheated on you, manipulated you, done you wrong, that is a choice. You are choosing to lower your standards and to lower your frequency in order to be with this man. And for what? Like, you're not happy. There's no way that you're happy being with someone who does you wrong like that. Like, there's so many men out here that will literally worship the ground that you walk on and will show you with their habits, with their patterns, with their consistency, and with their effort, okay? Because words are just words and actions are actions. And when actions and consistency match up, that is a good man right there. Matt was not worth no time of day. No time of day whatsoever. Whew. I just went on a whole spiel. Anyway, losing my shit in the bathroom. Losing my shit, right? And I finally was like, you know what? I'm not going to let him see the best of me. I am going to walk out of this bathroom looking like the badass bitch that I am. I'm going to walk right past him and not care. And that's exactly what I did. But my night did not end that way. Of course, there had to be more drama, because why not? Because I wouldn't be continuing the story if it ended there. So what had happened was, remember how I told you how I was talking to Leo a couple weeks prior to this? And his ex-girlfriend was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? So Leo ends up coming up to me. He's like, are you okay? And I was like, no. But I was like, I'll be fine. And he's like, I've actually been meaning to talk to you. Can we go outside and can we talk? And Matt had this backyard where it was like a sliding glass door, and he had this like huge deck, right, with like lawn chairs and tables and things like that, and then he had like a pool. So we actually ended up going out there. Why? I don't know, because it was November, almost December, and bitch, it was freezing, okay? So we go outside and we're talking, and he basically was just like, so what ended up happening with us? And I was like, you were not talking to me that much. We were barely hanging out, and you weren't really like putting in the same effort as before. So like, I just thought that we were chilling and that we were just like, talking and then transitioning back into friendship. And he's like, well, obviously I'm not going to want to talk to you when you're hooking up with my best friend. I said, what? Like, what do you mean? Because we weren't hooking up, by the way. No, that wasn't happening. We did like kiss a couple times, make out a couple times, whatever, but like it was not, we didn't hook up. So I was like, no, we didn't. We just did this. And he's like, well, still, Dakota, like, how would you like it if me and you were talking and then I went to my ex's house and I went and made out with her? And I was like, yeah, I'd be pissed. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, but even before that, you were acting weird. He was like, yeah, I was just going through some stuff. Like, I just wasn't in the position at that time. Like, that week was really hard for me. I wasn't, you know, trying to like text you all the time and like hang out with you all the time and stuff. Like, I was going through something, but he was like, I wish you would have just talked to me about it instead of just basically like going and making that decision, because like that really hurt me. And like, I really liked you, but like after that, I was kind of turned off. And I was like, no, like, I understand that, like, I get it. And I was like, you know, well, like, I don't know, like, where do we stand now? And just as we're talking about where we stand now, you guys, I can't fucking make this shit up, I swear to God. Like, the Lord at this time was testing me and I did not study, okay? Life was testing me and I did not study. I did not get the study guide. I did not get the Spark Notes. I did not understand the assignment, okay? So we're talking, and tell me why his ex-girlfriend literally rips open the glass door. Bitch, that shit almost flew off like Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz where the house was spinning all around. That shit almost flew up. And she's like, you are really out here talking to her? What's wrong with you? Why are you guys even talking? Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's my man. Like, this, like, I'm talking to him. And I'm just like, bro, there's no fucking way. There's no way this is happening to me right now. She comes, you guys, full force, and Leo's looking at her and he's like, yo, chill out, like, what are you doing right now? Because they weren't talking again. Like, I will say that, like, I know for a fact they were not at this time talking again. Like, they, I think, were like friends and they were like friendly, but they weren't like officially like back together or anything like that. He would ever go and he would like talk to somebody else, she would like go and like text like his current girlfriends and be like, oh, like, he's gonna come back to me, like, enjoy your spot while you have it. Like, she just was like one of those girls, right? So she just starts going bat shit crazy, and they were not talking the whole entire night. Like, she was with her friends, he was with his, like, it was fine. She comes charging at me, you guys. I'm not, like I said, I've never been in a fight before, but if you put your hands on me, girl, I can't be responsible for what happens to you. So she's coming at me and she's fully like charging at me, and he's holding her back and he's like, what is wrong with you? I haven't talked to you in months. Like, why are you acting like this? Like, I'm just talking to her. And we really were, you guys. Like, we were not hooking up, we were not, like, literally fucking nothing. Like, all we were doing was literally talking, okay? So she starts full on like charging at me, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take myself out of this equation. So I start walking around her to like go back inside, and she's really dead ass trying to come at me, and I'm just like, girl, what is the and by the way, let me just tell you guys, she had a boyfriend at this time. I don't know if they were on or they were off, but she had a boyfriend around this time. So like, girl, what are you like, sis, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm looking around and I'm like, I came to this party to have me a good time. Somebody always has to ruin my time. Matt's over there in the kitchen with freaking Paige kissing her. I just lost my best friend. Leo is over here holding his ex-girlfriend back from charging at me. Like, when we were about to talk about like us possibly like rekindling and maybe going forward, because honestly, you guys, at that time I was like, Matt's not shit. Like, this is the last time I'm gonna let him do this to me. I'm not doing this anymore. And when me and Leo were talking, I was like, you know what, maybe we needed to like separate a little bit to come back together stronger, and maybe I could potentially like see myself with him, like, because he's a good guy. Girl, I was done, okay? I was fucking done. I was like, you know what, forget both of you, forget this lifestyle, forget these people. I am out of here. You guys, I literally got my coat on and walked home. I was so mad and so aggravated, not even at the whole situation, but like, I was just like, why is my life like this? Like, I swear to God, everywhere I go, I just attract chaos. Like, I attract toxic people, I attract chaotic people, and I don't want to do this anymore. Like, there was a point where I literally had to look at myself and be like, because this is the thing, I always say, when you grow up in a chaotic environment, your mind naturally thinks that that's normal. So you will attract and you will allow in experiences that are the quality of what you've experienced in the past, because emotions are an end product of an experience, right? So basically, I was equating in my mind chaotic things because I had grown up in such a chaotic environment that I was basically like matching my experience in the past with my current reality, not realizing that I could change my current reality if I wanted to. So I was basically just like in these chaotic situations because they felt normal to me. They felt like how I grew up, like, you know, like I didn't know any better. And I finally got to a point where it's like either you grow up in chaos and you continue to attract chaos. Like I have so many friends who have grown up in chaotic environments and they are obsessed with drama. They love drama, they love it, they attract it, they purposely put themselves in it. Or you're an individual like me where you grew up in chaos, so now you crave peace. I want peace now. And honestly, like when I tell these stories, it's so funny because people once in a while will comment and be like, girl, your life is crazy, or girl, your life is messy. And I'm like, no, my life is very peaceful and boring now. Very peaceful and boring because I finally catapulted myself out of the toxicity and was like, no more. Like now if I'm around somebody and they're chaotic or they're dramatic or they're like, they just don't feel good to me, I take myself out of the equation because I don't want that in my life. And like, honestly, like if you want that for yourself too, all you have to do is change your mindset. All you have to do is tell yourself what you want and then say no to everything that does not align with that. You do not have to stay around chaos just because you grew up in a chaotic home. You do not have to be in toxic relationships just because you saw your parents being in toxic relationships. You don't have to accept less from somebody because that's what you saw somebody else doing growing up, and so that's like normal to you. Like that stuff's not normal, you guys. It's not normal. Toxicity is not freaking cute. Like I hate how glamorized and like glorified toxicity is. Like get out of the reality TV, stop watching the Love and Hip Hop. Like it is not normal to have friendships, relationships, anything that is toxic. Like get yourself out of that and really like start creating a peaceful life for yourself. And at first it's gonna feel boring because when you grow up around chaos, it's like addicting almost because there's always like an adrenaline rush. There's always like a thrill. There's always like something happening and it keeps you on this high. But when you start realizing how amazing it is to go to bed at night and your only problem is like what Netflix show you want to fucking fall asleep to, best feeling in the whole entire world to not have to be worried about toxic people, toxic men. Like I sleep so peacefully at night knowing that I am not getting cheated on. My bank account is good, my savings account is great, my credit is popping, my family is here and healthy. I have an amazing beautiful daughter who's happy and healthy. I'm happy and healthy. Like I go to bed at night with such peace because I don't have drama anymore, because I don't allow people in my environment like that. Like when I meet a guy and I realize that he comes with so much chaos, like I cut it off right then and there because I'm not even gonna give you a chance to penetrate your energy into this energetic orb, okay? Because we're clear over here. Like my aura, amazing. Don't come over here and mess it up, okay? So literally, you guys, I grabbed my coat, I ran out the door and I walked home, and I lived a good 15 minutes walking wise from there, 15-20 minutes walking wise, and I didn't care. And it was cold, and girl, I walked that whole way home, and that whole way home in my mind I was like, starting today my life is gonna be different. Like starting today, like I'm not doing this anymore. Like I'm so done with this back and forth. I'm done accepting less from these men. I'm done being like used, and like I'm done getting my feelings hurt all the fucking time and like being good to people who just don't deserve it. Like I was like, I'm done. And I dead ass, you guys, walked in my house. It was probably, I want to say like either November or December, and I'm walking down the street with my freaking bodycon dress and my high knee boots and my jacket. I'm freezing, but at the same time I was so hot because I was so mad. I didn't care, and I was just like, never again. I'm done. I am absolutely done. And you guys, I swear to God, I cut all those people off. Like after that, I was like, I'm never talking to Matt again. I was like, you know what, Leo's like a good dude, but like it's just too much drama. I stopped talking to him. I stopped talking to all of those guys in my friend group. Like I literally like went inward and did so much work on myself. I'm so highly aware that I look crazy right now. It's the next day. I meant to finish filming yesterday's story time, but I could not because I had to go get Aubrey from school, and then we just went and had like a mommy and daughter day. So here I am today. Better late than never. Better late than never. So basically, I just wanted to end the story time and say that from that day forward, what had happened was December had come, and my mom and my stepdad had decided that they were going to ultimately divorce, and we were making the decision whether we wanted to stay in New Jersey or if we wanted to go back to Connecticut, because, you know, my mom was getting a divorce and our family was there. Let me take these off because I don't even wear glasses. These are Blu-ray glasses. Let me not like act like fake. So we left the decision up to me ultimately. She said, do you want to stay here or do you want to move back to Connecticut? And something within me, it had to have been like God or my spirit team or both, something was telling me, like, go back to Connecticut. Go back to Connecticut. Dakota, there's nothing left here for you. Like, you have served your soul's contract here. You have served everything that you've needed to, like, go back home. You know, it had been so long since I had seen my father. It had been so long since I'd seen my family and my friends. And in turn, I really did miss home. Like, when I was in New Jersey, I sometimes missed Connecticut, but I genuinely liked Jersey. Like, I know from these story times, like, even my mom the other day was like, oh, I didn't know you had such a bad time there. And I was like, I didn't have a bad time there. I love New Jersey. Were there some shitty times? Abso-freaking-lutely. Did I go through a lot? Absolutely. Do I have trauma? Yes, but like, who doesn't from growing up? You know what I mean? And honestly, I feel like if I stayed in Connecticut, I would not have experienced half of the stuff that I experienced in New Jersey because the town was so small. I feel like I kind of got to experience a bit more than most people who are from a bigger town. I had finished out my semester at college, and me and my mother began to make the transition to move. And you know what? I really feel like divine timing is a thing because it's so insane to me. I don't want to say coincidental because there are no coincidences in life, but how that whole thing happened to the point where, like, I basically let myself go. I don't want to say cut everybody off, but I let myself go from everybody. Like, I had stopped talking to Leo, stopped being involved with Matt, was done with Alicia Cassandra. Molly and Michaela were, you know, didn't talk to me anymore. Like, I feel like I essentially was losing everything because the universe will continue to push you into the direction in which you are supposed to be aligned with. And when you are not listening to the signs, or when you're ignoring all of the synchronicities or all of the forewarnings, they will put you in such an uncomfortable position to the point where you're like, okay, I hear you, like, I got it, okay? And what happened was I was constantly being pushed to go back to Connecticut, that my time here was done, that I had served my purpose, and I wasn't listening because I kept wanting to stay there because I was holding on to like an old dream of mine, you know? And I realized in that moment, like, it's time to go back. And I literally, you guys, I'm not joking, I had a 1994 Honda Civic. Piece of crap car, but you know what? It was my first car. I just needed it to get me from point A to point B. It was like $2,000 mint. So I packed up my entire car with everything I could fit. My clothes. I wasn't even like bringing furniture. Like, I was just packing my clothes, my makeup, my shoes, my guitar, like literally everything into my car. And I drove for the first time. I only got my license. I only had my license at that point for a year. And the furthest I've ever drove was to like my college, which was about 30 minutes from my house. And I made that like 2.5 hour drive from Pompton Lakes to Connecticut by myself. And because I have a whole entire story, you guys, of this guy that I dated that was, I forgot, oh my god, I cannot believe I didn't tell that story yet. Okay, I'll do that for next story time. But this guy that I dated who just was really like horrible to me, and I was very like caught up over him. There was only really 2 guys I was ever caught up on from my past, and that was Matt, obviously, and there was another one. And I remember when I had started to date him, I really started to love country music, and I went and I got the Jason Aldean album. And there's this one song that Jason Aldean sings, and I don't remember the name. Let me see if I can find it. It's called, oh my god, okay, so my graduating class was like obsessed with Jason Aldean. I remember the album My Kind of Party came out that year. I don't listen to country music anymore. I'm like literally a whole different bitch now, but I used to listen to it a lot, and it was basically just like the anthem of our senior year. Basically, like, you'll always look back and those will be the best memories of your life. Because I do have to say, in high school, there were some really shitty times. There was also some great times. Do I look back and I'm like, oh my god, that was the best time of my life? No, because I've made great memories since then. But I do look back and I'm like, yo, like, I experienced a lot at a young age, and I did have some really good times. So anyway, when I was leaving, there was this guy that I was kind of on and off with, and we had ended on not great terms, but I still had a lot of love for him. And I didn't tell anybody I was going. I literally packed up my stuff and I left. I didn't tell I told nobody I was leaving. Like, literally, I put it on Facebook, like, Jersey, like, thanks for the memories, you've been great, but it's time for my next chapter. I told nobody I was leaving. All my friends called me and they were like, you moved? And I did have a couple friends, like my friend Katie and a couple of other friends, and they were just like, oh my god, like everybody was shocked. Like everybody in my town was fucking shocked. At home, I was listening to this song and I kept playing it over and over again, and the lyrics are, see you when I see you, another place, another time. If I ever get down your way, or you're ever up around mine, we'll laugh about the old days and catch up on the new. I'll see you when I see you, and I hope it's someday soon. And literally, you guys, like I just felt like I was leaving Jersey, and like I knew I was not gonna come back. Like I knew that this was like a final like nail in the coffin. Like I love my experience here. There's people there I still have love for, but I knew that like Connecticut was where I was supposed to be. As beautiful as it was to start a new chapter, it was also so sad to close a chapter on something that I once loved so freaking much. I think it's okay to become comfortable with loss. Not everything in our life is supposed to be permanent, and some people, things, and circumstances come in to serve a certain season in our life, so we learn the lessons from it so we can grow and continue forward and be better people. And some people, places, and circumstances come into our life permanently and they're ours forever. But at the end of the day, nothing and no one is truly yours or belongs to you. And I think that it's okay to say, hey, you were the favorite chapter of my story, and you'll probably always be one of my favorite chapters of my story, but I have to move on because I can't keep continuing to write the same ending and expecting a different outcome. That's literally the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing constantly over and over and expecting a different outcome. The only thing constant in life is change. And as long as it's gradual, it's actually super duper healthy. I think we need to normalize like leaving things behind for our self-development and our growth, even if it hurts. And you're allowed to hurt. You're allowed to mourn past experiences. You're allowed to mourn past things. You're allowed to mourn and miss the crap out of people or past experiences. But you can still be in that mourning and missing state and continue to move forward. As my girl CCB says, if you could chew gum and walk at the same time, girl, you could heal and move on and walk at the same time as you're mourning. You have to want it for yourself. I literally picked up and I moved and I started a new life. And then I got pregnant with Aubrey, like maybe like 4 or 5 months later. And then my journey with that started, and it was a lot at one time. But it was for my self-development. Aubrey really has saved me in so many ways. Before I had Aubrey, I didn't know who I was. I'm still figuring out who I am. And I'm about to be 28 next month, and I'm just finally scratching the surface on what my purpose is here, and what my life purpose and what my mission is, and why I was brought here to Earth. But before I had Aubrey, I was so lost in everything. I was hanging out with people I shouldn't have been. I was participating in things I shouldn't have been. I was just doing like, I don't mean like drugs or anything like that. I was just doing like self-destructive behaviors. I was looking for validation in empty vessels. Like I was looking for validation and love and attention in men who didn't even love themselves, didn't even validate themselves, didn't even know who they were. And I was expecting that love. And when I didn't get it, it was like, I just didn't know who I was. I'd always place identity in somebody else instead of seeking identity within me. And I truly feel like Aubrey was brought here. They always say like if you have a girl, it's because you're supposed to be taught more about like self-love. And I truly believe that that's why she was brought here. You know, because of Aubrey, I can't do things or couldn't do things that normal 20, 21-year-olds could do. I couldn't be at the bar every single weekend. I couldn't go to all the clubs. I couldn't go to all the trips. I couldn't give in to temptation. And I used to be somebody that had a very hard time saying no, and had a very hard time with peer pressure. And I feel like Aubrey was truly brought to me because I needed to be taught to say no, to not seek validation in self-destructive things, people, and circumstances, to not say yes to everything, to not be drinking every weekend, to not be out on the scene every weekend. I really feel like she truly grounded me and helped me get my life together, because when I found out I was pregnant, I knew, despite what her father would promise me, I have very good intuition. I knew I was going to be a single mom. I had no doubt in my mind I was going to be a single mom. I knew it. And because that was my journey and my fate and ultimate destiny, I grew up overnight. I really did. There's no explanation. People ask me all the time, how'd you do it? I grew up overnight because I didn't have a choice. It was evolve or remain, and I was not going to remain where I was. Being a newborn child into this world, and guess what? She didn't ask to be brought here. At the end of the day, she did not. I just said goodbye to my past life and my past self and created a new one, and I'm constantly doing that now, you guys. Like, there's parts of me from my past self that I will always love and cherish, because at that time I needed her. I needed my past self to survive the circumstances that were thrown my way. But once I got out of survival mode and started dabbling in creation mode, which is basically deprogramming everything you once thought was the truth and it actually isn't, and you start to get this new viewpoint and perception on reality and like what life really is about, despite what people try to program and what society tries to infiltrate into your mind. Once I got past that, I literally had to say goodbye to my old self. Like, I literally had to have a mental funeral for her. And it was like, I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me. I really needed you at that time. But now, for where I want to go, where I need to be, and where I'm heading, like, you cannot come with me. I can't keep those same survival mechanisms. I can't keep, being closed off and not trusting and not, listening to myself and my intuition. I can't do that anymore. I can't put up with people's abuse and narcissism and self-doubt and negative self-talk. I can't do that anymore, because where I'm going, I'm about to inspire a whole generation of women to be their best self, to be their best selves, to be who they're supposed to be, to know they're worthy, know that they can make that shift. So the past self that used to be insecure and not love myself and not trust myself, she can't come with me, but I'll always love her, like, I'll always be there for her. I'll always be thankful for her, but you can't come with me, and that's something that I encourage everybody to do, is like, you literally have to say goodbye to your old self sometimes. If you are holding on to what was, you cannot possibly bring in what is. The more that you prolong the inevitable, the more you resist what is going to come into your life, right? Some people cannot get to where they are because they're too focused on who they used to be. You have to let that go. Until you let that go, you're not going to be able to bring in these new experiences and this new energy that wants to come into your life, because you're literally putting yourself in a state of resistance. Happy for the experiences I've gone through, because, how can I talk about roads that I've never been on? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I get comments from people and bless their heart, I'm not saying anything bad about it, but they'll be like, oh my God, Dakota, like, I feel so sorry for you. You've been through so much. Don't feel bad for me, you guys. The table that was brought to me with all of my experiences, I needed that table. I needed these things to happen to me, because my life purpose and my soul's mission is to use the pain and the suffering that was within the things and experiences that happened to me, to share them with you guys, to make it more relatable, because vulnerability equals empowerment. Empowerment. Nobody ever grew from being perfect. The true growth is within looking at your testimony, or looking at your trial and turning it into your testimony, and looking at your past experiences and being like, I'm going to use these to help so many women, to help so many people, because they will feel seen. They'll feel less alone, or they'll get advice from it on how I moved on and grew forward. So how can I possibly fulfill my life's mission and my soul's purpose if I've never been down all these roads? I can't talk about things that I've never experienced. There's so many motivational speakers and influencers who try to talk about things that they have never been through a day in their damn life, and it pisses me off. That is like going to a dentist and asking them to perform open heart surgery. They don't have the credentials. I've been through these things, so I can talk about them and I can help because I've been down these roads. People who have not been through these things and try to talk about them and give advice, like, just be careful. Like, be careful who you're purchasing these courses from. Be careful who you're purchasing books from. Make sure that who you're going to has the credentials and has a life experience, okay? Because you can go to school any day of the week. You can go to school for 8-10 years. Experience, in my opinion, triumphs education. It really does. Because if you're talking from a viewpoint of, hey, I've been here and this is how you can get out, it's different than just reading about it. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is my story, you guys. More high school horror stories to come. If you guys are liking this series, please let me know down below. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Also, while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and turn your post notifications on so you are notified every single time I post a video here on YouTube. Please follow my podcast. It is called Sis Let's Heal. I've changed the name like 3 times, but this one just sticks with me and I love it. It's a self-development and improvement podcast. If you guys like what I talk about here, you're gonna love what I talk about there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Isn't an option due to unusual rain and thunder. Baby, I wonder